All right, everybody, welcome back to DG360. I wasn't even going to do this. I wasn't even going to report on this piece here. This is in regards to the BBC piece. Click, I guess it's their special branch, BBC's special branch that gets in that in-depth report, and they really didn't. And, you know, they did a nice piece on it. We're going to watch it. And we're going to react to it. So without further ado, let's watch that. And then I'll give you my whole spiel about this interview. Let's just watch right now.
Star Citizen combines elements of a massively multiplayer role-playing game, a spaceship sim, and first-person shooter. All in a vast, persistent universe.
Thanks, Wendy.
It has a large, loyal fan base.
Previously, we couldn't have done a planet like this before.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. I ended up being a dentist. I always used to fantasize with being a spaceman, and that's what Star Citizen is.
Coming up behind you. Star Citizen is important because it's a Chris Roberts game. Chris Roberts started out the Wing Commander franchise in the 90s. It's almost like he's the George Lucas.
So we got the very basic info, right? I mean, they're setting up the audience because those that don't know about Star Citizen need to know about it. We talk about the things that initially no one knows about because they've never heard of it before. And then they go through the whole spiel about how Chris Roberts was the creator of Wing Commander, the things that a lot of us veterans are kind of tired and it's a little repetitious after this time. But I understand BBC's setting it up. They're putting the ball on the tee, as it were. And I thought at this point that they were going to just completely bash them, but let's keep going. And it was really interesting. It was kind of like a different narrative that I'm not quite used to. So let's keep watching.
Some space games.
Star Citizen came around because Chris Roberts wanted to create the ultimate space sim that hadn't existed. He'd made Wing Commander and he wanted to make the biggest follow-up to that.
But I don't want to build any old game. I want to build a universe. I want to build a game I always...
Back in 2011, man, look how no gray in Chris's hair, no stress involved right now, man. This is the beginning of his journey, man. He's like the president of the United States. Anytime you get into a very serious position where it involves like a lot of stress, you ever notice like how bad stress is for you, dude? I mean, I'm not saying Chris Roberts looks bad right now, but like, look at this. This is only about what, 7-8 years ago? It's just crazy, man. Crazy. It's like presidential what happened to him.
always wanted to build, but I didn't have the tools to do until now.
So when people then saw it, they saw what he was selling,
Right.
They saw what he wanted to create, they wanted to invest in that.
And invest they have, so far in excess of $250 million, with $37 million raised in the last year alone.
Actually, that figure is closer to 40 million right now. They're having the best year that they have ever had. I've talked about it exclusively here on the channel about how having a limitless game experience is the demand behind this game. And nobody yet has picked up upon that. And when they will, trust me, that'll get out there. Then you will see that person get credited for that point of view. Not me.
All this for a game which is still in the testing phase and isn't a finished product. Cloud Imperium Games has been developing Star Citizen since 2012. It now has a team of 500 spread across 5 studios in the UK, Germany and the United States. This is the LA office. Even though the team here is busy still making the game, it is playable and being played by gamers at the moment.
This game goes out every 3 months, but it's of course in very, very early alpha. So to a degree, they're having the exact same experience as somebody that would be working on another game as like a QA.
It seems like this piece was actually done exactly when CitizenCon had happened, and they actually do talk with Chris in this. So those that are patient enough that are watching this with me will get to see Chris talk to the reporter.
Guy, or even as a developer.
Here's Sean.
But this is a game which, from its inception, has proved to be controversial. Since the original Kickstarter campaign, its scale has dramatically increased, becoming a much bigger game in the process.
As the crowdfunding grew, so did the scope. What began as an ode to Wing Commander gradually grew into this giant, persistent universe. And, that's a very different product.
As a result of changes to the game, earlier this year, Roberts Space Industries, a subsidiary of Cloud Imperium, was taken to court by a backer seeking a refund of almost $4,500, money he'd spent backing the game. A California judge
which really is nothing compared to a lot of other people out there who have spent a lot more money than just $4,000. This is one of the first times we saw Cloud Imperium get hit with a lawsuit of this kind, and this is interesting to see what happened here. I already know, but for those that don't.
judge dismissed the case without prejudice due to a clause in the Star Citizen end-user license agreement, which prevents anyone from taking Roberts Space Industries to court for a refund. The games company says it does issue refunds within a 30-day window. This brings us to the issue that seems to have generated the most headlines for Star Citizen.
Money.
Money.
Cha-ching.
$250 million sounds like a lot of money. But when you think the movie Avatar cost $237 million to make, and most estimates put GTA 5 are costing $265 million to make, it's not a crazy amount of cash to put into a game.
Wow, did you hear that? That narrative definitely changed because we never used to hear that in any of these professional reports. Okay, that is interesting. That viewpoint never used to be in any of the professional reports. So kudos to BBC for putting that in. That was interesting. At that particular point in time when I saw the money go cha-ching, right? I thought it was going to be another hit piece and I was gearing up. I was just gearing up and getting ready for it. Interestingly enough, they're not putting much bias at all into this. They're being very unbiased about this, except I felt, and again, I'll talk more about this, that it was a little bit of a fluff piece, but we'll talk about that after the video.
From sunny Southern California to grey, wintry Manchester, while development on the game continues, here in Manchester, CitizenCon, which is a convention dedicated entirely to the video game, is kicking off.
Remember that dude?
CitizenCon.
Didn't that guy win the contest? I think that guy won the contest when we were watching that a couple Saturdays ago. I believe that guy won the contest.
Where fans and backers of the game can meet each other as well as the game's development teams.
Yeah.
One of the aspects of the game which has attracted a lot of attention is the ships.
Of course, that's how they make their money.
There are a plethora of different ships in the game, big and small. They can be purchased with in-game currency, or backers can use real cash, which Cloud Imperium says goes towards further development. Rumours are rife of some backers spending thousands on ships. Most of the people I meet at CitizenCon have more modest budgets. How much money have you spent so far?
That's only about $75 to $100.
Probably invested about £250 into the game.
Maybe like £60 or something like that.
There's always exceptions to the rule, though.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't look friendly.
I've
spent about $7,900 on the
game. Rex probably fucking made their eyebrows stand straight on that, dude. I love it. He's like, I spent about $8,000. I love that shit.
$7,900.
$7,900.
Now we should say that you are a streamer, so this is your living,
yeah.
isn't it?
We do these crazy battles, like 50 players going to wars.
Oh yeah, nice that Rex got plugged by BBC. Fucking free promotion for you, Rex. Good for you, dude. Good for you.
Battles, that's what we do.
Somebody send the backup!
It's here in the midst of...
And you know what? I think Rex is going to need it because, like, we talked about that in the community, how he moved over to Facebook because Facebook gave him some type of deal and he had to fight to get his YouTube channel and all this shit going on. And the people, I went over to Facebook to check out Rex, by the way, as a side note, and it didn't seem like all of his followers went over there. And it's a very hard thing to choose what platform to put on. So I hope he does well over there.
CitizenCon that I catch up with Roberts. What's going on?
Oh. This was good.
We're trying to build a universe at like a level of detail.
Chris gets nervous at some point, but I was actually happy that they got Chris in this. I think about 30 seconds in, you start to see Chris get a little bit nervous, wondering what kind of piece that BBC is going to do.
That no one's done before, and so it's taking longer than we were anticipating when we first announced it.
There's an awful lot of online negativity around Star Citizen.
No shit.
Why do you think that is?
It's easy to be an armchair quarterback or an armchair developer. People aren't used to, don't really know how much work goes into making these games. I mean, there's been some, stuff on like Red Dead Redemption 2, but that was 7+ years. It takes time to build games of the sophistication and simulation detail that gamers expect now.
Oh man, dude.
So what's new?
The new planet technology we have, which is much higher fidelity. We've been working on dynamic weather. The other really big thing that we're showing,
which I love,
the first time we're going through a jump point or a wormhole. Basically, as we carry on, we'll be opening up more star systems.
Next year, we've been promised the release of Squadron 42, the single-player campaign aspect of the game. But for now, development continues on the main Star Citizen experience. It seems this game's journey is far from over.
And that was it. I mean, that was all that there was to say about it. And it was so damn short. When I initially reported on this, I really thought that they were going to do some type of hit piece. And you know what's strange enough is that after the fact and after I've watched this is the third time I've watched this piece to kind of really get an idea on the angle here. I feel as if they went the complete other direction. Now I'm kind of disappointed they went kind of too fluff on this. You know, I would have loved to have BBC's talk to Chris about like expenses. You know, I get really upset about these generalized questions that pretty much anybody can ask. Right? I mean, like any content creator can ask about, particular portions of game design or a ship or, you know, what role in the game a ship functions as, or any of those questions. Seems like kind of questions that are fairly easy to answer. The ones I want to really talk about, or the ones I really want to ask, are a little bit more are deeper in nature, about the functioning of the business model. You know, like how are we doing managing Cloud Imperium? Like, what are your projections for next year as far as sales? How are your expenses doing? Are you planning to expand? Are you planning to rein it in? You know, questions that I want answered that are more focused on the business model, more like what will happen with ship sales now that we have renting in game. You know, questions that really deal with the success of the project or not. These are the kind of questions that I really want to be asked, and it seems like that just is just this in limbo. It doesn't seem as if anybody's really asking hard-hitting questions like that. So I was actually, as nice as it was to see that this was not like a hit piece, on the other side of the spectrum, I wanted them to be a little bit more, you know, in depth, a little bit more rough, you know, just to kind of throw Chris a curveball and to see how he handles it. And but like 2019 has been a spectacular year. Let's just say, in my opinion, 2019, as far as what has come out from Cloud Imperium with Star Citizen, has been an absolutely stellar year. It is very hard at this point, if you are on the naysaying side, to bitch about the game right now. There's a lot of positivity. There's a lot of things coming out. The development has been on point. There's a lot of roadblocks ahead, no doubt. Network server meshing, these types of things, these kind of impossible roadblocks that loom ahead of us, and tech has to catch up to solve these problems. Obviously, there's a lot in front of us. But if we just look at 2019 and we look at this year and everything that has come out, it is very difficult to be on the naysayer side. I will always try to balance myself between the two. I will always try and make sure that I'm fairly rooted in the middle, and that I'm not going full gung-ho fanboy kind of white knight, and at the same time not go like crazy ass naysayer. I think it's a good place to be. I think it's a good place to report from, and I would never want to steer too far in one direction or the other. And when I do, I try and monitor myself. Like, I try to moderate myself. Lately, I've been super positive. And obviously, it's because of everything that I'm witnessing and everything that I'm experiencing within the game. Yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw the video that I did, but I have a series on the channel called Experience Star Citizen. I have a great time playing 3.8. I had a wonderful time playing it. I had no crashes. Things felt tighter. The weather was amazing. The vibe I got from New Babbage off Microtech was fucking phenomenal. There was nothing about yesterday's experience I had with 3.8 that was bad. I had no bad. It was the easiest video I've ever made in terms of making an Experienced Star Citizen video. Usually making an Experienced Star Citizen video where I'm in the game and I'm using FOIP and I'm trying to make very entertaining content for you. Usually those videos take me all day to make. I have a couple crashes. I got to go back, got to get the ship that I was in. I got to go to the location that I was at. sometimes it can be nerve-wracking to make an experienced Star Citizen video. Those of you that are fans of this channel know the amount of time that I put in it. Sometimes it could be a day and a half to make an experienced Star Citizen video. This video that I did on 3.8 literally took me about an hour and a half to shoot, and it took me about an hour or so to edit, and boom, it was out. It was the easiest experience I've ever had in my life when trying to make in-game content, and I was shocked. I was actually at the point where I was like, wow, I cannot believe that it was this easy this time around. 3.8 felt better to me than ever, than prior patches. 3.7 had a lot of content, still a little bit of issues, but 3.8 really felt tight to me. Still 30K errors, still things in the way. I get it, but it felt really good. And that's what I got to say. So this year in 2019, for me, it was interesting to see that the narrative had changed on the BBC Click investigation, even though I thought it was kind of fluff piece. It was interesting to see that for me because we have not seen that a lot. We have always seen this attack by large media companies going at Star Citizen as if it were a scam, almost agreeing with naysayers and saying, fuck these guys, they're just taking your money kind of narrative. And this was the first time I've seen like a very large media outlet say, hey, you know what? It's a game and it looks like it's progressing. That's kind of the mode. That's kind of the tone of it. And I was very shocked by that. So I was impressed that they took that angle and that narrative on it. Tell me what you guys think of the video below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next.